All right, back to back free videos. I want to hear a thank you from everyone right now. Thank you. No, I'm just kidding. But honestly, I am so grateful for you guys. Thank you for giving me the time of day, watching my videos, listening to me. It means a lot. So I'm sitting here giving these free lessons, free videos. Thank you. I want to teach you guys everything that I know. I want to bring you guys along how I wanted to be brought along, how I wish someone was there for me. I want to be there for you. If I had someone like me around when I got into trading, I couldn't imagine where I would be at right now. If I could have the knowledge that I'm giving out when I first started, oh my goodness, I know it seems like a lot. I know it seems like I'm knowledge dropping and I'm just giving you everything all at once, but the whole point is for you to take the time, digest all the information, take it step by step, take notes, ask questions, ask for a one on one call to just ask me questions. It doesn't matter. So now with this free lesson, it's going to kind of go into concepts that probably most of you already know. It's going to really be about, are you going to be the gambler or are you going to be the casino? What mindset are you going to have? How are you going to think when you're trading? How are you going to think when you're building? Are you going to think like the gambler or are you going to think like the casino? Because it's possible in trading. You can think like the gambler in trading and you can build like the casino in trading. The casino always wins. House always wins. You hear that saying all the time. So, if the house always wins, why not join them? Why not build the house? Why not build that profitability? And I'm going to show you how it's possible in trading. And you're probably hearing that and thinking, I'm selling some crazy magic BS, but it's really just simple math. Now, without dragging this on too long, we'll start with the thing people get wrong. The casino doesn't win every hand. You're not going to win every trade, and it doesn't try to win every hand. The winning every hand is impossible. Winning every trade is impossible. You're never going to win 100% of the time. You're never going to be 100% perfect. That's just human error. That's just what comes with anything. No matter what job you have, where you work, whether you serve tables or sell cars, you're going to make mistakes at work. It's just human error. And chasing that is exactly what ruins gamblers. It ruins people. It ruins traders. Instead, the casino, the house, wins because of three boring ingredients. Traders win from longevity. They win from boring statistical data, from boring strategies, from long term trading. That's how people get rich. That's how people retire with millions of dollars. They're not sitting here gambling meme coins at the ripe age of 65. They have Roth IRAs, they have retirement accounts, they've bought into Tesla, Apple, Amazon, Nvidia when they first IPO'd, and now they're millionaires. It's all super boring whenever you look at it in such a small picture. But whenever you zoom out and you really realize what the possibilities are, that's when the game changes. And that's the entire thing, is that you're never going to win 100% of the time. Don't even try to win 100%. Don't even try to win 90% of the time. Even if you can win less than 50% of the time, if your winners are bigger than your losers, then you're still profitable. Now, on a roulette wheel, the casino's advantage is only a few percent. That it's tiny. The house loses almost half of the spins on a roulette table. It's nowhere near winning every time. But the magic is winning just slightly more often than it loses, repeatedly across millions of spins, across years of people playing, across multiple different bet sizes. It adds up to a guaranteed fortune. If it wins only 55% of the time, that 5% across 20 years at a casino, that's potentially millions of dollars. And it doesn't have to be big. It could be that 5% difference. All it has to be is real. As long as it is guaranteed to win 55% of the time and it can be repeated, that's the whole game. That's the whole point. And what is an edge in trading? Forget the whole movie, forget the whole hedge fund, forget the whole 20 different monitors and the whole, having to go to college for 10 years. An edge or a profitable strategy, all it means is on average across many trades, across thousands of trades, you can make a little more than you lose. That is all it is. It does not mean winning every trade. It does not mean calling the exact top or bottom. It does not mean the math, or I'm sorry, it means the math is tilted slightly in your favor. It does not have to be 90%. It does not have to be 100%. You don't have to win every single trade because now a losing trade isn't failure, it's just one spin of the wheel. Now, within your system, if you have a profitable system that's been proven, that's been back tested, that you've now implemented, as long as it's a little more profitable than what you lose across 20 years, you will make out more than 95% of traders. That's what my last video was about. Now, that leads to the single most misunderstood idea in all of trading is the win rate, the percentage of trades you win. That's what I've been talking about this whole time is why you don't have to have a 90% win rate. Is I win 90% of my trades sounds good, it sounds incredible, and people brag about it all the time that I have a 90% win rate, I have a 100% win rate, but one single trade can blow the entire account, or one single cold streak and your account's gone. It That's simply that. And 40% win rate can be a winning one. 30% win rate can technically be a winning one. It sounds impossible when you're just hearing it, but when you look at the math and you look at the spreadsheet and you look at the history of it trading, I can prove how a 45% win rate can be profitable. And this is a great way to show you. So we have two traders that have both made 10 trades. Trader A has won 90% of the time. 9 of the trades have won $10, so he's equaled up to $90 in profit. But it only took one trade for him to blow his entire account because he ran with no plan. He ran with no stop loss. He ran with no real strategy, no tested strategy. So it only took one trade, even though he had a 90% win rate, to blow the entire account. Whereas Trader B has a 40% win rate and he came out with $80 in profit because 4 of his trades were $50 in profit, equaling $200, and he had 6 losing trades where each of them were only $20. He had a $20 stop loss and he lost 6 trades, which only equaled up to $120. So you can have a 40% win rate and still come out above, whereas even the 90% win rate still lost. At the end of the day, after 20 years, Trader B with that 40% win rate that you avoided because you thought it was unprofitable or you thought 90% sounded better than 40% and you never really looked at the math or you never really back tested it, you'll never really know. You can sit here all day long and listen to any YouTube guru talk about their win rate and how they win 95% of trades, 100% of trades, but that's not what you're looking for. That average result per trade has a name, and it's the number professionals actually care about, and that's expectancy. Expectancy is simply your average profit or loss per trade over the long run. Trader A was negative, Trader B was positive. That's all that is. And that's all professionals look at. Professionals aren't looking to win 100% of the time. Casinos aren't looking to win 100% of the time. For some reason, gamblers are. If you're sitting at a blackjack table, of course you want to win every blackjack hand, unless you're being strategic about it, unless you have expectancy. Now, the casino's few percent translated into your trading, it is the number that tells the truth when win rate is busy lying to you. Find a genuinely positive expectancy and you found something worth trading. Which brings us to ingredient 2, because an edge alone is not enough. If you have a great edge, but you run it with no strict rules, no strict stop loss, no strict strategy, then you're going to be trader A, where you win 90% of the time, but one loss, one cold streak is just going to drag you into the dirt. It's going to blow your account. And that's how 95% of traders lose. And they think it's gambling and they call it gambling because they're acting like a gambler. They're not acting like the house. They're not acting like the casino. They're not acting like the market maker, which is the whole point of this video is to switch your mindset, is to switch it from being the gambler, looking at the chart, looking at the screen to becoming the casino, building the system, building the true profitable way. There's no reason to chase 90% strategies. There's no reason. I just showed you why. Now, the second thing that goes with an edge, all an edge is a proven strategy, is bet size, a controlled bet size. Like how casinos have a maximum bet, it seems backwards. Why wouldn't a casino want a gambler to gamble as much as they possibly can, put millions of dollars if they have it, you know? Because what if they get lucky? What if it's the one random time that, someone that puts $100 million on a blackjack hand, they hit 21 and they win $100 million. Then the casino overall is now losing. That's why they restrict it and they make sure and they have rules set in place to where their losses can never equal out to more than their wins. And that's the exact way you have to trade. Risk only a small slice of your account on any one trade, so a normal run of bad luck can't take you out, which goes on to cold streaks. And cold streaks matter so much because even if a coin, a stock that is genuinely weighted in your favor will still land badly 5, 6, 7 times in a row sometimes. And that's just randomness. That's just how everything works. That's just how stocks works. That's how the market works. That's how crypto works. That's how everything works. It goes up and down randomly. Trump can come out and tweet something randomly on a Sunday night and the market's moving all crazy and you don't even know how. And you can't even trade because you're on a prop firm. You know what I mean? That's just how it works. So your strategy can't just be revolved around winning. You have to be able to control your losses. So now one normal cold streak wipes you out before your edge ever gets the chance to pay off. If that's the case, then your strategy is not profitable. You're not going to win over a long period of time. You're not going to get consistent prop firm payouts. But if each bet is small enough, that same cold streak is just a small survivable dip. And that's the whole plan, is to survive, is to keep the account alive, keep your prop firm account alive, keep your live capital account alive. That's the whole plan, is to not blow the account. And you can build systems around that do that for you. So now stack all of these together, the whole mindset of being the casino, or at least building the casino's rules the same way you would in trading, and having a real small tested edge with small controlled bets repeated across many trades, whether that's back testing, whether that's forward testing, paper trading, whatever that is. Early on, it's going to seem like it's random. It's going to seem like you're losing. Your first couple of trades might be red, but overall, after 1 month, after 2 months, after 6, after 1 year, 5 years, it'll slowly compound, even if you have that 40% win rate. But the honest part, and it's the most important thing I'll say this entire video, there's even a catch to, a casino that a casino never has to worry about. The casino knows its edge. The math of a roulette wheel, it's fixed. It never changes, and it's always guaranteed. It's always guaranteed to win a little more than it loses. And now, you don't have that luxury. A roulette table is not the exact same as trading. It's not the exact same as the market. You might be able to make the same rules around it, but it's not the exact same. In trading, No one just hands you the edge. No one just gives you the strategy and shows you the route to be profitable. You have to go find one for yourself, and they're rare. It's very slim pickings out there. You have to go find it yourself. And then once you find it, or once you think you found it, you have to prove that it's real and prove that it's not just luck or it's not just some feeling that you had. And that's all my last video was about. Rather than having a feeling, testing it across real data, back testing your strategies. Figuring out which ones do honestly work without fooling you and which ones don't. That's the entire job. That's the whole point of a back tester. That's the whole point of the process of back testing your strategies. And that's what we obsess over, showing the losses. Because a loss is a win in my book. A loss is, thousands of dollars that I have saved. It's something that I know how to avoid. So if you want to stop gambling, if you want to be the casino, be the house, and stop being the gambler, I have tons of videos. I have tons of resources. I have everything. I will go one-on-one with you. I will show you how to go from zero to hero. Everything I know, I want to pass on to you. That is the whole point of me making this. That's the whole point of this group. I want everyone to be on the same level as I am. So please, any questions, reach out to me. It's the whole point of these videos, whole point of these free videos. That's why I'm so passionate about it. I'm ready to teach people. I'm seriously ready to do this. So please, any questions, feel free, reach out to me at any time on any social platform.